Now everybody loves a donut, so I'm going to show you how to make bakery quality donuts every time at home. Having a great recipe is one of the secrets, but where it can go wrong for people is when it comes to frying the donut. So what I want to show you today is how to get perfect, consistent temperature to your oil so you get a beautiful golden donut every single time with a nice white ring around the outside. Now baking is all about precision, so when it comes to weighing out your donuts, I'm going to do 65 grams per dough ball, but that means that they're going to take the same amount of time to fry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build some tension in the donut. So you're going to take your hand, you're going to shape it into a bit of a C, like a cup, and then we're going to take that cup, we're going to place our donut ball onto the work surface, and we're just going to rotate our hand around the donut ball. So what it's doing is it's moving underneath the cup of our hand like this, and if we speed it up, what happens is we get a really nice taut donut, which once we lift up, looks like this. We're going to lift that onto our baking tray with little squares of lightly oiled pieces of parchment paper. This is a game changer because once they're proved, we can just lift them up really easily into the hot oil and there's no mess whatsoever. So we're going to repeat this with the dough. We're going to do the rest of our dough balls and then we're going to leave these to proof. I'm just finishing these donuts off by adding a light layer of oil on top. Then I'm going to lightly oil my hands and I'm just going to press the donut down ever so slightly just to flatten it into kind of a puck shape. There's one extra precaution is I've lightly oiled the inside of my cling film, and that just means that when they come off later, it doesn't stick to the dough, okay? It's really nice and loose. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave these at room temperature. Now a lot of recipes say 20 minutes, an hour. I like to prove my donuts for a lot longer, so it's around 3-4 hours for me. Just set them to the side and then we'll come back and we'll fry them. So 3 hours later, we are back and have a look at our donuts, okay? So they are much puffier, much wider than they were when we put them away to prove. And if you measure them, this is what I look for, about 3 inches, okay, in diameter. That's what I'm looking for when I know my donuts are ready. And I've got my oil here, which is preheated to 170 degrees C. So this took about 5-10 minutes to heat up and now it's just ticking along. So because we're using that AEG induction, we've got very steady, very consistent temperature, which is exactly what we need for frying donuts, because if it's too hot, they're gonna burn. If it's too cold, they're just gonna get really oily. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our donut and I'm gonna very carefully drop it into the oil. So I'm gonna cook it for about 90 seconds. After about 10-15 seconds, you should be able to peel off this piece of parchment paper. Then after 90 seconds, flip it. We're gonna cook it for another 90 seconds, and then we're gonna do another 30 seconds each side. So in total, you're looking at about kind of 4.5 minutes of cooking this donut. If you overcrowd the pan and add too many donuts in, it could get quite cold and it'll take a really long time for the donuts to cook. So take a quick look here. You can see that donut's got this lovely white band around the outside. Now that is proof that you've proved your donut perfectly. I just drain them on some paper, let them cool slightly and then toss them in sugar. I'm just gonna take a little lollipop stick here and we're gonna just press it into the side of the donut like that. And then take your piping bag full of jam or whatever filling you want, press it in there, keep squeezing until the donut feels heavy in your hand and it should start to burst out like that. And so there you have it, the secret to the perfect donut. Cheers.